Welcome back to Unboxing OD, the podcast where we explore what it really means to lead and support meaningful change in organizations, not just through strategy, but through connection, care, and presence. I'm Kenneth Pearson, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. In this episode, we're digging into a topic that lives at the heart of everything we do in organizational development: trust and credibility. Without them, even the best design interventions can fall flat. With them, the possibilities expand. We'll explore how OD practitioners can learn leadership buy-in without relying on authority, how to create psychological safety within teams, what to do when we're met with resistance, and how to build influence from a place of alignment, not control. To bring it to life, we'll walk through the story of someone who might feel a bit familiar. Devon, an internal OD specialist who's been given the green light to lead change, but quickly discovers that permission isn't the same thing as trust. Grab that cup of coffee and let's dive in. Devon had been working in HR for 5 years before moving into a newly formed internal OD role. The title came with excitement and pressure. Leadership had said all the right things. We want more intentionality around culture. We need to get better at change. You have our full support. But support in words and support in action, not always the same thing. In his first few weeks, Devon sent out invites to meet with division leaders. A few responded. Most rescheduled. When he did manage to sit down with them, he was met with politeness, nods, and vague commitments to circle back. He wasn't being shut down outright, but he wasn't being let in either. Things shifted when Devon stopped trying to pitch OD and started trying to listen. He attended team meetings, not to present, but to observe. He asked curious, grounded questions. He started to notice which teams laughed together and which avoided eye contact. He noticed when leaders used we versus they. Then came his first big opportunity: facilitating a planning session with a leadership team that had recently merged. Tensions were high. Old rivalries lingered under the surface. At one point, a senior leader pushed back sharply when Devon suggested that shared decision-making might rebuild trust. Devon didn't defend, though. He stayed steady, asked a follow-up question, and created just enough space for dialogue to re-enter the room. He kept showing up that way, calm, prepared, curious, unthreatening, but clear. Slowly, trust began to build. Not all at once, but enough for people to stop seeing him as the OD guy from HR and start seeing him as a partner. That's the essence of OD work. You can't assume trust. You build it, you live it, one conversation at a time. So let's start with leadership buy-in, because without it, OD work struggles to gain traction. Here's the truth. Leaders don't buy into ideas. They buy into people. They buy into OD when they believe it will help them solve problems, reach goals, or feel less alone in the work. That doesn't mean we cater to them. It means we speak their language. When approaching leadership, we have to position ourselves as strategic partners, not philosophical outsiders. That means understanding the business goals, connecting our interventions to real outcomes, and showing we grasp the pressures they face, without losing our grounding in human systems. Devon gained traction when he stopped leading with the textbook definition of OD and started leading with listening. He didn't just offer solutions, he built relationships. And over time, leaders realized that his presence didn't slow them down. It helped them breathe, see more clearly, and make better decisions. That's what earns buy-in: presence, clarity, and alignment. It's important to note that trust doesn't just live in the C-suite. It lives in the small moments with teams. Psychological safety is about more than being nice. It's about people feeling safe enough to speak up, disagree, ask questions, and share ideas without fear of embarrassment or punishment. As OD practitioners, we often walk into rooms where that safety has been compromised. To create it, we lead by modeling. We ask questions we don't already know the answers to. We admit when we're unsure. We hold space when silence gets uncomfortable. And we show, through our energy and our words, that we're not there to judge or fix. We're there to understand. Devon's presence in the team planning session wasn't magic. It was steady. And that steadiness, the willingness to stay, to listen deeply, to hold discomfort, signaled to others that this was a different kind of space, one where safety could slowly return. Resistance is part of the job. It's not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that something matters. When we meet resistance, we can get defensive, or we can get curious. Most of the time, resistance isn't personal. It's protective. People resist when they don't feel heard, when they fear loss, or when they've been burned before. Instead of pushing harder, try softening your stance. Ask where the concern is coming from. Reflect what you're hearing. Make it safe for people to voice their hesitation. That moment when Devon was challenged by a senior leader, he could have shut it down, shifted the agenda, or tried to justify his suggestion. But by asking a follow-up question instead, he showed that resistance wasn't a threat. It was a signal, one worth honoring. One of the hardest lessons in OD is that you're often working without formal power. You're not the decision maker. You're not the final sign-off. You're there to influence, to shift the conversation, the perspective, the rhythm. So how do you influence without authority? First, you stay consistent. You don't waver when the room gets tense. You don't push, but you also don't disappear. You stay grounded in your values and your purpose. Second, you learn to read the system. Who carries informal influence? Who's trusted by others? How does your communication actually flow here? And third, you build micro-credibility. You honor time. You send follow-ups. You remember names. You model the culture you're trying to help create. Influence grows not from charisma, but from integrity. Not from flash, but from follow-through. Trust isn't something you can demand. It's something you earn, moment by moment, conversation by conversation, and in OD, it's the currency everything else is built on. Whether you're gaining leadership buy-in, creating safety in teams, working through resistance, or trying to build influence without a formal title, what matters most is how you show up. Your steadiness, your curiosity, your integrity. And if that's the space you're working from, know that your presence is the intervention, and your impact reaches further than you may ever see. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Unboxing OD. If your organization is navigating change or looking for support in building trust and alignment at scale, we'd love to support you. At Pearson & Pearson LLC, we offer project-based OD consulting designed to meet your organization where it is and help you build a path forward with clarity and care. And if you're looking to deepen your understanding of how systems move and how change takes root, my upcoming book, The Flow of 5 Tiers, arrives in May 2025. It's a framework for OD professionals, leaders, and change agents looking to understand the inner architecture of organizational life, from structure to story to spirit. To connect, reach out at info@pearsonpearson.llc or find me on LinkedIn. Those links are in the show notes. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your questions, and what trust looks like in the work you're doing. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep unboxing the heart of organizational development.